that's what you did, and that's what we have to do sometimes, is to just trust that those nudges are there for our benefit and for our growth and for our learning, and that everything's going to work out. To know that even though you can't see what's ahead, that it's beautiful.
Yeah, and you can't see the how, but it's going to. And we just have to start recording the evidence of when it has.
Yeah.
And, last night I was telling you before we hit record that last night I had some negative self-talk, my inner critic, and it was kind of rough. And I just took my own advice and I got out my books and I sat in meditation and lit a candle and got away from technology and just started journaling and just went back home, to settle and realize we're safe. It's all okay. Because I think as human beings, we all just have an ego. We all have, you're not going to brush your teeth once and be good for a week, work out once and be fit. I always say that because it's a constant. Even though I'm a coach and you're a coach, like we still are human beings and have our own stuff that shows up.
Join me, 'cause I'm seeking sunshine, 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 I'm seeking sunshine.
Welcome to Seeking Sunshine, Do What Lights You Up, a podcast for passionate, creative moms who are ready to live their best life and be their full, lit-up selves while being amazing moms, because it's possible to be both. It turns out that you don't have to lose yourself in motherhood, and I'm here to show you how. This is Seeking Sunshine 2.0 because we are no longer focusing on the problems, but on the solutions. It's your turn to shine. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Seeking Sunshine podcast. Thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. As always, it means so much to me, especially in the midst of this crazy busy season. We've just finished Christmas, and I hope that you had such a beautiful celebration, such an amazing holiday. I hope that you spent it surrounded by family and friends and filled with gratitude and appreciation and so much love. We have a really amazing guest today who's been my friend for such a long time. But before I dive into that, I have to remind you about this really amazing product that I just found. And I've mentioned it a couple times now, but I keep coming back to it because it has made such a big impact in my life. And it is called Magic Mind, and it's the world's first productivity drink. Now, I've mentioned that I've been a Mountain Dew girl, a Diet Mountain Dew girl. And I don't know if you know that much about Diet Mountain Dew, but it's kind of filled with really, really terrible ingredients. So I was looking for something to replace my Diet Mountain Dew habit, something that had healthier ingredients that would still give me a boost in energy. But what I wasn't expecting to find was something that would give me long-lasting energy with no crash. And that's exactly what Magic Mind has brought. And not just that, it tastes so amazing. I look forward to this every single day. And it's got neurotropics in it, which they're the thing, guys. They're so amazing. But the neurotropics I've tried before tasted really terrible, and this tastes so good. One of the reasons that I always loved Diet Mountain Dew, and it was my dirty little secret that I'd keep going back to it, is that it tasted really good, but I love the taste of Mind Magic. So Mind Magic is filled with matcha and adaptogens, and it's got vitamin C and vitamin D. It gives you focus and creativity and motivation, which has been really helpful in this busy season. And it's just been an absolute lifesaver for me. So I wanted to remind you that is, I've got like a really awesome coupon code for it in the show notes, and they're going to be available to purchase on site in person at Sprouts coming up in January. But before that, if you want to snag a little discount code, you can get that in the show notes. This has been kind of life-changing for me to like get off the nasty Mountain Dew, which I've tried to get off a lot of times. And I don't know what your like, dirty little secret go-to drink of choice is, if it's coffee or Diet Coke or what it is that you like secretly hide and pretend like you don't really drink and accidentally go back to over and over again. But if your goals for the new year include being healthier, like so many of us, I recommend giving this little teeny drink a try. It comes in these little teeny shots, and you just drink it in the morning and you feel so much better. So that is something that you've probably never heard of that now you have, and you should totally try it. So only in January, you can get 1 month for free when you subscribe for 3 months at magicmind.com/JanSeekings with my special code Seekings20. So make sure that you go check that out, because it's an extra 20% off, which gets you like a 75% discount like in the long run. It's only available in January, and it's super worth it. Again, if you're going to try this is the time to go check it out. Our amazing guest today is the incredible Linda Brand, and she has been a friend of mine for like a year now. She's one of the coolest people ever, and she's got a podcast called Empowered, and I actually got to be on her show, and she's just so cool, and I was so excited to be able to finally have her on my show. And in this episode, we talked about selfless motherhood, because she is a single mom who raised her son all by herself for his entire life. Like, it was just hearing her story was so inspiring and impressive. We talked about divine guidance and letting go of fear, embracing simplicity, which is something we all need to do more of, and then how we can enjoy life to the fullest. It's such a good conversation, guys. Sorry. Linda Brand, she's an empowered, transformed spiritual being who's been an entrepreneur for over 31 years, and her natural gifts are to inspire and lift others. She's very passionate about physical health and wellness as she overcame a debilitating illness, and she chooses to prioritize her health by living a healthy lifestyle. She's a gratitude queen, and she's been practicing gratitude for over a decade and has spent many years transforming her life, healing and growing and evolving by investing in herself with coaches, reading books, attending seminars, workshops, retreats, and more. And you can hear more about her on her podcast, Empowered, which I got to be on. And you can just feel her presence, and you can tell all the work that she has done. She is a powerhouse. She's a force to be reckoned with. And I'm so excited that you get to hear this interview. So welcome, Linda. Well, hi, Linda. I'm so excited to have you today on the Seeking Sunshine podcast.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here with you, you ray of light.
Awesome. Well, thanks for coming. I am so excited to talk about everything that you're doing, because you are doing so many amazing things.
Thank you. Well, yeah, I am doing a lot of things.
So let's see. Let's start with tell us about your businesses that you're running right now.
So I'm a licensed realtor in 2 different states, Michigan and Florida. And I've been licensed 31 years in Michigan and newer, like a year in Florida. I have a coaching business that I'm building, Linda Brand Coach, and it's mostly women empowerment, self-care, it's mostly around women and empowerment and a little bit of business. And then I have some courses that I am revamping. One is Abundant Living Mindset. It's a mindset course, The Joy Method for Abundant Living. and a money mindset course. And then I'm also making a course for people who adopt rescue dogs to let them know what to expect. And it's going to be amazing. So I'm super excited for that. And then I have a podcast, Empowered. So Empowered, the podcast I've had for a year, and it's a lot of conversations, motivational, inspirational, transformational, a lot of health and wellness, and some solo episodes too. And yeah, so it's spiritual, law of attraction. Again, very much a lot of women, but there are a few men on there too.
Ooh, I love it. So tell us about what's lighting you up the most right now.
That's a great question. The coaching, a little bit of the real estate. Mostly it's the coaching and the course for the dogs, because I am an animal advocate. I have my own rescue dog that I've had for 2 years, and I've had dogs for over 30 years. And I've had a professional pet sitting business, and currently I do a little bit on the side. So this rescue dog that I currently have, and I've had him 2 years, he's like a post-trauma. I had never experienced this before. So I had to educate myself and learn about reprogramming him, because he had a lot of fear. And so that is lighting me up, because it seems to be very valuable to many people that are either currently with a dog that they are trying to, adapt to, help them with their new rescue dog, or they're thinking about adopting a dog. I think it's really powerful to educate yourself on what to expect, because people don't know what they're gonna, a dog that's been abused or whatever. It's a process, patience. There's a lot involved. That's exciting and fun. And yeah.
Ooh, so that's awesome. And so tell us about, you were saying that and I know that you moved to Florida. Tell us your whole story. I want to hear about your story. Tell us what led you to Florida and what led you to adopting Lucky. And you have such an amazing journey that you've been on as you've grown and you've stepped into your power. Tell us how you've come to this point.
Yeah, sure. So I was raised in kind of a negative, critical, not highly supervised parenting situation. Growing up, I felt loved, but there was a lot of scarcity and lack and fear around money. There was a lot of it wasn't very affectionate. Anyway, I got in a lot of trouble as a teenager, and had, felony convictions actually. So really bad boyfriends and drugs and bad things. So I have grown, evolved all of my life. And then in my early 20s, I got into real estate, and I met my son's dad, and we were not a match, but we had a child together, a beautiful, boy that we were blessed. Both of us were blessed to have. And he's been a huge inspiration to me, spiritually and everything. But I grew up with no religion. I was Jewish, but they said everyone hates Jews. Don't tell anybody you're Jewish. My dad was an atheist because of the Jews that were murdered. My mother side were from Russia, and they didn't really know. I don't think they knew how to do the holidays. And my mom's like, we're having a Christmas tree. It's more fun. And I'm like, whatever. So anyway, I had no religion. And then when I was pregnant with my son, I started learning about Judaism.
And it must have been really, really difficult to, know that you had this really rich heritage, but not be able to embrace it, and to really be taught that it wasn't safe to embrace it. And especially to have all of those feelings really, really prominent right now,
Yeah,
especially in the media and everything.
Oh yeah. Well, right now I'm affiliated with Chabad. That's right around I can walk there, and I've been studying a little bit, but I'm mostly spiritual, not really super aligned with any religion. I'm more just spiritual, and I take what I like from the different religions, and more kind of like Buddhist thinking. But so the story goes where I kind of fell into the real estate profession. It's good, it's great, it's been good to me overall, but it wasn't exactly my passion work. I probably would be a teacher if I went back in time and had a different, made different choices. But when my son was, thank God, I used to pray that he would grow up and be healthy and happy and successful and independent, happy and healthy. And he did. But, his father and I were not friends. We didn't co-parent in a great way. So I kind of dealt with that. And
How old is your son when
he's 25 now, and we basically raised him in 2 separate homes.
So how old was he when you and your husband split?
I was actually never married, and
Okay.
it was right after he was born, pretty much, that it
Which
was.
means that you were a single mom for his entire life, which I can already see that you don't seem to be giving yourself enough credit for, because that is like a superhero feat right there, that you raised your son and you were supporting him and yourself this entire time, and how just incredible that was. And I'd love to dive into like what it was like to balance, being a working mom and having a child and trying to do both. I mean, it's one thing to try to do something you love, but to try to raise a child and just be able to eat is a humongous feat.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I was fairly successful, and his father was supportive. He lived a mile away, and his father was a good dad to him. We were not friends. He was somewhat controlling, but I couldn't take him to the dentist to have his teeth cleaned without his dad there. That's how present he was. And I always shifted, even back then, even though I have to say this, I've been studying for 30 years. I've been listening to Tony Robbins, Brian Tracy, and all of those people, because I learned right away in real estate that you got to be positive. Like, people in sales, you're not going to be, people don't want to work with you if you're not, in a positive, upbeat person. But so I've been studying all that. But anyway, so I looked at it like, at least he's there for Josh, versus he's not the little boy sitting on the front porch waiting for dad, and dad doesn't show up. Or that
it can always be worse, right? And that's amazing to be able to see it from that positive place of like, I've seen examples of how this could have been significantly
So he was
worse.
like the helicopter dad, but it was better than the other way. I just looked at it. And when I had a debilitating illness in 2011 and 12, and it took me down for quite a while, and I was so grateful that his father was there to take him to sports and things. But how it looked was, it's kind of a blur, but like, my son has always had a smile on his face, really. He's always been a beautiful soul. And ultimately, like, because we were in 2 peaceful homes versus one home where there's fighting and arguing, like, there was positivity there. He's always had a lot of friends. I just did the best I could, but the love for him was always so humongous, and his needs, and I tried to always do what was best for him. And because, ego, and then the boys in the middle.
Yeah.
That's how they end up killing themselves. So I literally was always like, you win. And I teach that, any single parents around me, I'm happy to tell them, you have to do what's in the highest best interest for those kids, always. Because it's so easy to be like, oh, well, I'll get more money if he stays with me more or something. Like, no, you got to do what's best for the kids, whether it's, as long as the father is not abusive or anything horrible, like, they kind of need their dad,
Yeah. And that's such an amazing, like, amazing. Like, that's amazing for you to be able to step out of yourself and to be like, his needs are really what matter most. That is absolutely the most important person in this triangle we have here is our son. His needs are, the highest priority here, not mine. That is so selfless and so beautiful. And that's what every parent should be at. Like, that is a beautiful, beautiful, amazing quality. I like,
Yeah.
that's what mothers should be. That's what fathers should be thinking.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and we also have to like prioritize self-care and things. It wasn't like, I wasn't ever putting my needs, but I mean, when it came to major things or, best interest, it's always the best interest of the child, period. Like, for his safety, for his highest good education, all the things. But anyway, so he started out pre-med. It's a whole story, but he got through college with an engineering degree and dean's list and honors and all the great things. He always played sports. He was always a high achiever in school. And his father's, partly responsible for some of that, but he also had really good genes and smart people on every side. But but anyway, so the fall of 21, I went to a Gina DeVee. I drove 4.5 hours to Chicago in the winter. I had just rescued this dog because my last dog had passed away in May of 21. The dog waited for Josh to be home from college. I kid you not. The whole year he was, my son was home 2 days. My 10 days out of an entire year, he was home. The second day, the dog went down like on a walk with me. He just collapsed. It's a whole story. But anyway, Joey, he was my best friend. He was a great dog, but he was high maintenance and a lot of things, and he loved me, and it's a whole story. But the bottom line is he passed away, and everyone's like, oh, you're getting another dog. You're a dog person. You're amazing with dogs. And I'm like, no, I'm tired. I raised a son. I've had dogs for 30 years. I'm just, and within weeks, I was missing having a dog, and I'm looking at everybody's dogs. Oh, look at that one. Look at that one. And I started pet sitting on the side, and then they'd bring me their dog, and they were just amazing because I used to have a professional pet sitting business when Josh was younger. I stepped out of real estate for several years and returned full-time in June of 11. But the point is, every dog that came was just amazing. Like, they were just so good and loving. And so I decided I'll foster, and I had never fostered. And there's a whole story there. There's a little podcast episode, 20 minutes of Lucky's experience and my experience when I adopted him. But the bottom line is I did this fostering. I got my dog Lucky. And in the fall of 21, I decided I loved Gina DeVee at the time, the Audacity to Be Queen book.
Yeah, she's amazing. I have that book on my shelf right behind me.
Yes. And I was listening to her Audible, and I was like, yeah, that's right. We're queens and we deserve all this. And I deserve more love and joy and all the things. And so I drove 4.5 hours to her white party, and not the whole event because it's a whole story. And then 2 weeks later, her Miami Divine Living thing, and I went, and it changed my entire life because I made a decision there. Actually, I had a divine download in the restroom of the Italian restaurant hotel the final night. I'm washing my hands, and I got this, you belong in Florida, you belong in Florida. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I go back to the table and I tell these two ladies I'm sitting with, I think I'm going to move to Florida. And they're like, oh my God, that's so exciting. And I'm, of course, the whole fear and everything. And I got back home, and ultimately it made sense to sell my house. Josh was graduating college. He's like, Mom, I'm moving to Kentucky, because he had a girlfriend at the time who lived there, and he was relocating, and everything lined up for me to move and sell the house. So I was looking at local places, and I'm like, no, I'm done with the cold. I'm not walking the dog in the cold. So anyway, we moved. It's a whole thing, but we sold my house in 2/22/22. We literally closed 2/22/22. And
Amazing.
I moved here April of 22, and last year, which is almost going to be 2 years soon. And yeah, it was amazing. And Josh then ends up getting a job in Tampa, and he ended up relocating 4 months later. So he's down here now, and they broke up. It's a story, but it works itself out because it was the highest good for all in their circumstance. And now he's got a new girlfriend, but they were all here for Thanksgiving, him and his girlfriend and his best friend. And Yeah. And so I started the coaching business, the podcast. I found Kathy Heller, where you and I met, through Kathy Heller. And, I didn't even plan on doing a podcast, but when I was on the fence, do I, don't I felt better to do it than not. So I went for it. And that's, yeah.
That's amazing. It's amazing how, because I don't know, I've had those moments of like, you need to move. Like you need to change your whole life and move. And it's the scariest feeling of like, this is not my idea. I don't want to
Yeah.
move. Moving is so hard. Moving is scary. It's like starting your whole life over somewhere new. And it's so scary. It's so
Yeah. I
scary.
mean, what was scary was I was in a house for 25 years, I drove into that garage for 25 years, and I'm going to be in an apartment with no garage. And then it was just like, there was a lot of things, and I had to empty the entire house by myself, which was selling things and donating. And, 25 years you accumulate, even though it wasn't a huge house. And lastly was, it was, the weather. I'm like, I'm 50. I'm tired of the cold. Okay. The cold, I like snow. It's pretty. I like, but I was really tired of the 6, 7 months of cold. And here it's, 3 months of super hot, but I can handle it. And I've met some amazing people down here, and it's just, my life is just, and Josh is down here now, and his dad visits like every other month. And it's like, it's just been a blessing. Like literally, I was divinely guided here.
It's so beautiful.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful to look at our lives in hindsight and to look at the whole story, because we really get stuck in the minutia of like the things that are going wrong today, and like the thing that I don't like how this is going. I'm having a hard time seeing the next step and how it's going to work out, and I'm just not sure. But when we look back and we look at the whole picture, we can see how we were led. We could see the beauty of our story. And your story is so beautiful, to see how, your son came into existence and he's been such a blessing in your life, even though maybe he wasn't totally planned or it wasn't totally exactly the way you would have, you know, pictured it would have gone, right?
Yeah, it's wild. Because at Thanksgiving, they were here for 7 hours. We had food, we played Scrabble, we played this card. I bought these cards in a box from he was probably 12. And I bought them in the conversation cards. Like, you pull one out and it'll say,
Yeah.
if you had all the money in the world, what would you do? Or if you could buy any car, what would you pick? Or if, what's the nicest thing you ever did for somebody? It was just really, really good conversation. And we had so much fun. And somehow it came up about raising him or something about him. And he said something, somehow the word burden came up. And I said, you have never been a burden in my life, ever. And I said it with such genuine, I could not think of a single moment that he's ever been a burden. Like, I was 29 when I had him, and 2 weeks later I turned 30. And people would ask me to go out places, and I'm like, no, I'd rather be home with my baby. I didn't even want to go anywhere. And it's funny because I just mentored a young realtor at my office. She's brand new, and she shadowed me at a couple open houses, and she loves me. And she has a 2-year-old, and she's the same way because her husband's a little younger. And she's like, I don't want to go out. I'm tired. I want to just hang at home and I'm like, that's how I was. I don't know. It's funny. He's never been a burden. That's the bottom line. So I've just been blessed, and and he's watched me grow, because I am imperfect, as we all are. And I have grown so much since I moved to Florida. Like, the healing and growing and evolving has been so gigantic. And my coach at the time, because I hired a coach to help me build this business, and she was more of a support through the move. And she's like, you did a quantum leap, Linda, when you moved. It was quantum leap.
It's official. Podcast Like a Mother is here. This is my podcast coaching program where I lead you one-to-one through the entire process of building your own podcast. I will guide you every single step of the way as you figure out what topic you want to talk about, what lights you up, and how to do the entire process beginning to end. I'm going to show you every single thing that I know, and it's going to be amazing. I'm going to show you how to make podcasting fun and easy and sustainable. If you want to schedule a breakthrough call with me to see if this is the right next step for you, check out the link in the show notes. Yeah, there's this quote I love, and it's like, sometimes the only like next step you can take is like a leap of faith.
Oh yeah, or jump and the net appears.
Yeah. And
Jump and the net appears.
that's what you did, and that's what we have to do sometimes, is to just trust that those nudges are there for our benefit and for our growth and for our learning, and that everything's going to work out. To know that even though you can't see what's ahead, that it's beautiful.
Yeah, and you can't see the how, but it's going to. And we just have to start recording the evidence of when it has.
Yeah.
And, last night I was telling you before we hit record that last night I had some negative self-talk, my inner critic, and it was kind of rough. And I just took my own advice and I got out my books and I sat in meditation, lit a candle, and got away from technology and just started journaling and just went back home, to Seoul and realized we're safe. It's all okay. Because I think as human beings, we all just have an ego. We all have, you're not going to brush your teeth once and be good for a week, work out once and be fit. I always say that because it's a constant. Even though I'm a coach and you're a coach, like we still are human beings and have our own stuff that shows up.
Yep. I was also struggling this weekend of like, oh my gosh, it's not working. What am I gonna do? Like, just like we have like every so often, like we'll have this like spiral of like, nothing's working, everything's going to crap, right? Like, and I was kind of, spiraling, and I was just sitting there in it, like spinning and spinning and spinning, and like, having my moment. And I had this thought because of all of this work that I've done, and it was like, why are you doing this? Why are you doing this? Why are you letting yourself go there? Like,
you were noticing.
Like, better.
Exactly.
You know better than to like let this be here. This doesn't need to be here. Why are you going there again? This is a lie. This is unnecessary. And the longer you sit in this, the longer it's going to take to get out of it. So like, just let it go. Because the only reason that the darkness stays is because we cling to it.
Right. It's a familiar.
Yeah. We're like, wait, it's not going to work. Let me hold on to it. Let me hold on to the negativity. No, I'm so afraid. Let me hold on to my fear. I treasure my fear. I'm treasuring the pain. And it's like, if you just let it go, it'll literally just fade away. It'll just disintegrate and disappear. And then what happens is you open up, and the freedom, like you just feel it, and the light comes back in, and then you're like, oh, it was only there because I wouldn't let it go.
I just wonder, like, if there's like dark entity, like, how there's like spirit guides that are positive and good, and angel guides of the highest truth and compassion. Gabby Bernstein would say, like, when she's praying, she'll say, angel guides of the highest truth and compassion. Like, why does she say of the highest truth and compassion? Because there might be the other, right? And I don't know if you believe, but like, perhaps that's what that's what happens. Like, I was around a lot of people this weekend, and I was thinking, is it because I've been around all these energies? And somewhere in, like, one lady was in like some toxic marriage, her husband was cheating, she had so much negative stuff in her life, and I was trying to help her, and I'm sure it might, but I may have, I know I did, but I don't know. I'm just saying, like, is it possible that there's all kinds of ways to think of
But
it?
then the big question is, how do you release yourself from it? It's your own, you just let it go. You don't hold on to. It's really easy to be like, I'm familiar with it, so I need the fear. I know the fear. I need the fear. The fear keeps me safe. The fear doesn't keep us safe.
Right.
The
It
fear
doesn't.
keeps us down, but we're used to being down there, so we're familiar with it. We have to be willing to let it go and be open to the unfamiliar, because guess what? The unfamiliar is going to shock you with how amazing it is. Like,
I know. Love
just wait for the amazing, abundance and beauty and blessing that's coming that you have no idea what it's like. We're so afraid of the unknown. Be excited for the unknown. Be
that.
so excited for the unknown, because the known, you already know what that is. And it's maybe not as amazing. Be excited for what you don't know instead
Right.
of being so scared of it.
We're scared. We don't like uncertainty, and that's the challenge.
Hmm. But
But
if you could be certain that the unknown future was so amazing and so incredible and just unbelievably like your wildest dreams come true, if you could be certain of that, how much different would your life be right now? What kind of different choices, what kind of different energy would you be in right now?
oh my God, amazing. Oh my God, amazing. I love that. Yeah. I was gonna say that I had this spiritual teacher on my show called, his name was Richard Lassiter. I met him through Empower Network TV, which I'm affiliated with now, and
Yeah.
I mention it, but he's like, you don't know where your energy begins and where your energy ends. And I'm like, hmm.
You
And
don't
I
know who
met,
it's touching. You don't know who it's affecting.
but yeah, but we don't know where it starts or ends, which makes a lot of sense, because that's, yeah, touching, exactly. And then they're touching mine. So that's what I'm like, was it because I was around all these people this weekend?
Well,
You know,
it's just like Kathy Heller says, like, we are just part of the ocean. We are not separate from one another, which she got that from someone else. So it's not like her original thing. She got that from,
yeah, she gets a lot from things.
yeah,
Because
she
I mean,
got that from Marianne Williamson, I think, maybe. But this just the idea that like we think of ourselves as separate. We think of ourselves as separate beings. This is me. This is where my body ends. But actually, your body has energy coming off of it. We are not individual waves in this ocean. We are just part of the bigger ocean. And so that's what you were saying. It's like we are your energy, it extends. And you can feel when somebody walks into a room, you can immediately feel their energy and how it changes the entire space. So if you walk into a room and you are lit up and you are sunshine and you are excited, it changes the whole space for the better. But if you walk into a room and you are bitter and you are angry and it changes the whole space for the worse.
yeah, and
So
the
you
most
gotta,
loving person in the room. Did you just hear this
yeah.
quote? See it? Where
Mm-hmm.
like the most powerful woman in the room, or the person in the room, is the most loving. Yeah, I was at the gym this morning, and I just feel like I gained a few pounds from the holidays, and I was like in the gym, and I feel like people were looking at me, and I'm like, this has to be my energy. It has to be my energy. It's just, I have high energy. And I wanted to share that I started joining this A Course in Miracles study group, and it's pretty cool. And that's who I did the hike and the yoga with on the weekend. And she's 70, the woman who teaches it. Her name's Marianne, as
Oh,
you mentioned.
cool. Well, and if anyone doesn't know, A Course in Miracles is Marianne Williamson, who is extremely famous. If you don't know who she is, she's the one who said the really incredibly famous quote that I'm gonna probably misquote, but the quote, I
It's
said it
about,
in my
I know it
speech.
is. We're more
It's
we're more powerful.
we're
We're not afraid.
afraid, we're more afraid, we're not afraid of being, oh my gosh, I have it like written down. We're more afraid of um not being seen. And oh my gosh, I'm losing it.
It's the gist of it is that we are so powerful. Basically, it's like we're afraid of our success. We're afraid of it's
I'm
not.
gonna look it up.
Yeah,
Gonna
look it up, and then you can edit the
I don't have the whole thing. I have like part of it is in my. Oh my gosh, it's gonna drive me nuts until I look it up.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. I was gonna tell you so this woman's name is Marianne, and she's just a lovely woman. And but
Our
of course,
deepest, sorry, I got it. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. Hold on. I only had the top of it. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, famous, fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. And then it goes on. It's actually a really long quote. And the end of it,
love
I
this quote for us, for you and I love it.
Yes. The end of it, I quote in my speech, but I don't have it up. But anyways, that's who Marianne Williamson is, in case you're like not sure. She's the one who does A Course in
And
Miracles.
she ran for president. I mean, she's amazing.
Yeah.
And Gabby Bernstein studied under her, and Gina DeVee studied under her, but she's not the author of the Course in Miracles. She's taught the
Yeah,
Course.
she teaches it. She's like the most well known for teaching it. Something like that.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm in this group, and every time we read a passage, a section, and then we extract things and share, and it's amazing. I'm extracting. It's just amazing stuff. So what is happening with you? You're coaching podcasters, right?
Yeah, I'm launching my podcast like a mother course, and I decided to do something really crazy, and I decided I'm going to launch a second podcast because everybody who I introduced this idea of like, I'm going to launch a podcasting program called Podcast Like a Mother was like, oh, you're launching a podcast. And I was like, no, it's a course to teach people how to podcast. And no one like listened. They were like, great, a podcast. And I was like, no,
Great.
teaching people how to podcast. And they were like, great, a podcast. I'm like, don't you know that I have a podcast?
Is it a group coaching that you're going to do?
Right now it's 1-to-1. It will probably eventually be a group coaching, probably beginning of the year. It'll be a group coaching program.
A lot easier for you.
Yeah.
I know. That's such the way to go. It seems like nobody.
Yeah. But as someone who's going to teach podcasting, I was like, it's been 2 years since I started my podcast. I need to go back through the process to refresh myself on the actual initial pieces of how to launch a podcast. So I decided I'm going to start another podcast and like record the whole process of like, so to remind myself of what that actually looked like to begin with, especially now that, because I use Spotify for podcasters. And when I started my podcast, it was Anchor. So there seems to be a couple tiny differences now. Yeah. So I'm going to record the whole process and see how fast and easy I can make it. So I'm going to actually launch the podcast Like a Mother, and do like really tiny, just solo 20-minute episodes about specifically making podcasting easy and fun. So
I love it.
That's my project that I'm added to my already insane life.
Right.
Because I love podcasting and it's all about doing what lights you up. And I realized that podcasting has taken over my life, not because it has to, but because it's my favorite. So I keep coming back to it. It's what I want to keep doing. I could let chores take over my life. I could be cleaning my house all day long, but I don't want to. So I don't. So instead, I keep choosing podcasting because it's what I love the most. So may as well jump in more, right?
Yeah. I'm ready to manifest 5,000 so I can go to see Tracy Litt in Palm Beach.
Right.
I know.
Right. I'm also ready to manifest 5,000. So
She seems
Yeah, her thing sounds amazing. But yeah, I'm looking for all the people who want to start a podcast. That's how I'm going to manifest my 5,000.
Oh yeah, you will. You will, absolutely.
So,
I'm doing this dog thing. I think it's going to be I'm in the process. I mean, the course I'm doing video. I'm doing so much for it.
well,
Like,
and I can see like how much you love dogs and how much it lights you up. But one thing I wanted to mention was like, I think you could be amazing at helping single moms co-parent. And I was wondering if you had thought about doing a course on co-parenting for people.
yeah, that's a good idea as the course, because the coaching on it could be kind of a little negative and draining, but I mean, it is negative and draining, but I would love to do that. I absolutely love children, and focusing on and women self-care is also a huge
Yeah,
thing. I'm really a queen at that, as well
you
as
are.
I am a queen at self-care.
Yes, you are.
Yeah. Well, yeah, thanks. I'll take that as a compliment.
No, you are. And you're amazing at you're an amazing coach because you've coached me many times and you're fabulous at it. And so yeah, that was my thought was like you to make co-parenting child-centered instead of parent-centered, which it always seems to be. Co-parenting always seems to be very much about how each parent can get what they want instead of the child getting what they need, which is really what it should be about. And your whole story lends itself to that. Anyways, that was my thought.
No, I love it. Thank you. No, I appreciate it. I think it's great. I think a course makes perfect sense, which I had not thought of. A co-parenting course, because who wouldn't buy it at a like that's going to help you deal with your ex?
Especially because there's so many people who are going into this co-parenting thing going, I don't know how to make this work. I
Or they're
like
sitting in miserable marriages because they're afraid, because they have the kids, and oh, what's that going to look like, or whatever. And they're
it's gonna
just
ruin my kid.
right. And it's not.
Mm-hmm.
They'd probably be happier if you were happier.
Mm-hmm. And you have this full experience with a kid who can give an amazing testimonial.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. So tell us your website and tell us all the websites that we can find all of your things.
Sure. Linda Brand Coach. And I'm on Instagram at Linda Brand Coach and Linda Brand Homes. And the website's lindabrandcoach.com. It's evolved over time, like everything. And I just realized that simpler is better so much, so many times, like less is more, right? And you can find me on Facebook, on LinkedIn, and what else? I think that's it. Empowered the podcast. If you want to check out, I
Yes.
have a lot of good conversations. Your episode's coming up very, very soon, hopefully later today. Karaleigh Garrison. So yeah, it's been wonderful watching your journey, and I'm really impressed and proud of you for all that you've created and
Thanks.
all that you've done for yourself and your family.
Thank you. This has been so fun to hear your story and to hear your wisdom. You've come so far in your life. Do you have any final words of wisdom for us as we wrap up?
Absolutely. That's a great question. My biggest words of wisdom is enjoy this time, this temporary time, like enjoy your life, whatever it takes, because we're only here. Like Tracy Litt says, it's my favorite. Like, she's like, listen, lighten up because we're not getting out alive. And I love it because it's true. We're not, I was at the gym and I was feeling good, and I ran into a guy friend, and he's just like, oh, it's a roller coaster, like we're talking about life and stuff. And I said, you know what? We got to lighten up because we're not getting out alive. And it's funny, but it's true. So I feel like we're here for joy. We're definitely here to serve and love and grow, and help others. Obviously, it's the serving, but we are here to be happy. God wants his children happy, just like you want your children and I want my child. We're supposed to be having fun. That's all I want to say. So that's why you follow what feels good. I follow what feels good, what's lighting me up. So I really want to focus on, like, if you're not happy, seek whatever it takes to get happy. And if it's just in a moment, you can turn on music and dance, you can, get outside in nature. There's so many ways, right, to raise your vibration, to shift when you're feeling down, like, last night for me. but, but yeah, that's all. I just want to say that, to listen to podcasts and just take control of your life. We are not victims. We are victors. We are here for joy. So do not have a victim mindset, right? We can take control and we create our realities, and whatever you have that's going on, you are choosing. That's my last words.
I love it so much. Thank you so much for coming on today.
Welcome. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much, Linda. What an amazing conversation that we got to have. It was so much fun to talk with her. I love her to death. She's the greatest. So here's my favorite takeaways. Number one, it's so beautiful to look at our lives in hindsight and see the whole story. We get really stuck in the minutia, but when we look back, we can see how we were led. We can see the beauty of our story. Number two, that's just what we have to do sometimes. Trust that those nudges are there for our benefit and for our growth and for our learning, that everything is going to work out, to know that even though you can't see what's ahead, that it's beautiful. Number three, we're safe. It's all okay. As human beings, we all have an ego. You're not going to brush your teeth once and be good for a week or work out once and be fit. It's a constant. We are still human beings and have our own stuff that shows up. Number four, the fear doesn't keep us safe. The fear keeps us down. We have to be willing to let it go and be open to the unfamiliar, because guess what? The unfamiliar is going to shock you with how amazing it is. Just wait for the amazing abundance and beauty and blessing that's coming. You have no idea what it's like. We are so afraid of the unknown. Be excited for the unknown. Be so excited for the unknown. Number five, if you could be certain that the unknown future was so amazing and so incredible and just unbelievably like your wildest dreams come true, if you could be certain of that, how much different would your life be right now? What kind of different choices would you make? What kind of different energy would you be in right now? Number six, enjoy this time. Enjoy your life, whatever it takes. Lighten up, because we're not getting out alive. And number seven, we're here for joy. We're here to serve and love and grow and help others, but we're also here to be happy. God wants his children happy. We're supposed to be having fun. Take control of your life. We are victors, not victims. Yes. Yeah, queen. I love it so much. Be sure to go check out Linda on Instagram at Linda Brand Coach and Linda Brand Homes, and go find her website, lindabrandcoach.com. She has so much to offer on there, so really go check it out. Oh, and her podcast, which is Empowered, and you can go find that on your favorite podcast platform, along with my other podcast Like a Mother, which is amazing and awesome. And there's so many cool things coming from that. So you really want to go subscribe to all of them and follow along. Podcasts are my favorite. So also you can find the Magic Mind coupon code Seekings20 in the show notes. You can also find all these links in the show notes, by the way. Don't forget, you can get the Easy Podcasting Basics cheat sheet link to subscribe for that in the show notes, as well as the Snippet of Sunshine Daily Quote, which is where you get all of these quotes, all of the takeaways I just read to you in your inbox. And then you get a really cute quote to uplift your day every single day in your inbox. And then lastly, go check out my website, KaraleighGarrison.com. So all the links, all the things, all the doodads are in the show notes. And if it's not, then it's on my website, so you can go find it there. I think that's all the things. It's officially not Christmas season anymore. Like, Christmas ended a couple days ago, so I'm no longer gonna play you Christmas music. I don't know if that makes you sad or happy. I'm officially back to other stuff, which actually, I'm not gonna play you a song from my album. I'm gonna play you the custom song that I wrote as a gift for my parents this year. I know, it's really cute. It's really sweet. I have the best parents in the world, and I wrote them because, like many of us, my parents were like, don't buy us stuff. We don't want more stuff. And I think a lot of people feel that, around Christmas time. And it was like, stuff, we're getting rid of stuff. We don't need more stuff. So instead of more stuff, I wrote them a custom song, and that's what I'm going to play here. And it might make you cry because I was really blessed and have pretty freaking amazing parents. So that's the song I'm going to attach here because it's really good. It's really cute. And if you are ever interested in a custom song, I do still do that on occasion. Although I have kind of pivoted to coaching, podcasting, which is my favorite. I really love teaching people podcasting made easy. But if it's something you really want, I do write custom songs for all occasions, not just for podcasters. So anyways, that is the song that I'm going to leave you with today. Have just such an incredible day. Enjoy the remainder of 2023. And I'm excited to see you next year.
When I was young, you told me you'd always be there to hold me. Now I see you're right here with me. My life has been hard, you've seen it, it's not gone the way I planned it, but still here you stand, my safe place to land. I know that it's rare to find a home as good as mine. Steadfast and stable, you taught me I am able. Careworn and humble, you catch me when I stumble. Patiently there for me, sight beyond what I can see. You taught me what life is supposed to be. Yeah, you taught me what life is supposed to be. Life has moved on, and I've grown, raised a family of my own. You're never too far from where we are. It's thanks to you that I know just how to serve. Let love show, you taught me the way. I'm thankful each day. I know that it's rare to find a home as good as mine. Steadfast and stable, you taught me I am able. Careworn and humble, you catch me when You taught me I am able, careworn and humble. You catch me when I stumble, patiently there for me, sight beyond what I can see. You taught me what life is supposed to be.